I'm actually using my YN303 off of a bounce board as my key light. I'm using an old work light, bouncing just off of this stuff, lighting up my background a little bit and giving me some color contrast. And then I'm using the M1 with the 22mm lens for my lower angle, and the M3 with the 18-35. So if you're wondering what I was using to film this video, that's what I'm using. But I think it's kind of ironic that in the video about the gear I always use to make videos, I'm not using any of it. Well, except for now. Now, since January is usually the time that people are doing the what's in my camera bag video, I thought I would talk to you about what kind of gear that I use. Now, I'm not doing a what's in my camera bag because, to be honest, there's a lot of stuff I carry around in my camera bag that I don't use that often. And so what I wanted to show you is the gear that I actually use in pretty much every video I make. First of all, of course, as most of you know, I use the M50. This is a great camera. I've used it for 9 months. I absolutely love it. I feel like I pretty much mastered this camera. It's so good for the type of video that I'm doing. It has a flip out screen, 1080p 60, 4K 24 that is actually usable as long as you use manual focus and wider glass. Now, the lens that I use on the M50 is the 15-45 kit. I am not going to say that this is an amazing lens, but what I'm going to say is that I've gotten amazing videos with this lens. It is not the sharpest lens, but it's pretty sharp. It's not the fastest lens, but it's fast enough for daytime shoots. It's not super wide, but that comes with the benefit of not being super distorted. And that's one reason I haven't gone for a wider lens yet, is that I don't like that distortion. And the final reason that I've stuck with the 15-45 kit lens is because when someone comes across this channel, I don't want them to use an excuse of, oh, well, I can't get as good footage because I don't have as good of a lens as them. I'm using the cheapest budget lens for the Canon M50. This lens is a really good, solid performer, especially for vlogging. It's not going to be an amazing lens, but it's going to be good enough, and definitely you can get high quality cinematic video with this lens. The next thing that I use all the time, and this is very important, is a vodka variable neutral density filter. Now, this filter is only about $15. What it allows you to do is keep your shutter speed so you can get natural motion blur, and keep your aperture wide open so you get a shallower depth of field. This is something I think invaluable. Every person should have a variable ND filter. Now, the next thing I use every single video is the small rig cage. This basically takes the camera from a point and shoot feel to a nice feeling, almost DSLR type grip. It is so great, especially for handheld video. It gives you a lot more to hold on to. Now, of course, we have audio. Now, I have the Rode Video Micro, and it is a good mic. But what I use for my videos is the Movo VXR10. This mic is 6 decibels louder, it picks up more bass frequency. I really love the way that this mic sounds better than the Rode Video Micro. Now with that, I have the shock mount that I got when I bought the Azden SMX10. They don't even use this mount anymore, but it keeps the form factor a lot smaller. And when you snap it on, you put it on the camera, it doesn't block the EVF. Now this is another part that I use, and people ask me about this all the time. Literally, I spent $2 and got 2 of these on Amazon, cut it down to size, put a little child's hair rubber band on it, and it just slides onto the VXR10. It works great. It doesn't look as big and obnoxious as the fully windscreen, which I also always carry around with me, because about 50% of the time, I still need this because there's wind, or if I'm skateboarding, I need to be able to block some of that wind. Now for media, I use a Sandisk Extreme card. It's a really good card. It records at 90 megabits per second, but more importantly, it's a U3 card, and it's made so that you can record 4K video. So if you're going to be recording 4K video, you have to at least get a 90 megabit a second U3 card. The next thing I use, everyone saw it coming, the Gorillapod. One thing about these is that they don't last forever. I just had to replace it after using one for about 10 months, and I probably should have replaced it like 3 months ago. The thing is, the Gorillapods get worn out. I mean, the legs stop bending, they stop being stiff, and let me put it this way, it's a lot cheaper to replace a $30 Gorillapod than it is a $600 camera. So keeping these up to date, and when they start wearing out, just go ahead, get another one, or use a different type of tripod. I like this one because it's big for one. I can hold it out farther away from me since I'm not using as wide of a lens, but I also like that I could put it on a lot more surfaces than a regular like Manfrotto's small tabletop tripod. Now that is the camera that I use for making all of these videos. Now for editing, I use this laptop. It is not a super expensive laptop. We did replace the hard drive with a solid state, so that gives us a little more speed. But all of my editing is done on this laptop. It's not done on a larger computer that's better for editing. But I will say this laptop cannot edit 4K. It can't even play back 4K. So if you want to do 4K, you got to get a more powerful machine than this. Another thing that people have asked me a ton actually is what program am I editing in? And this is the program, Sony Movie Studio Platinum 12. This is literally released 2012. This is a very old program. It does not even support 4K. Sony actually sold the company to Magix now. I mean, this thing's so old, I installed it on my computer with a CD. Now, the final thing I use in pretty much every video, my low pro backpack. This thing, the usability is really, really good. I would definitely suggest this bag. It's perfect for the M50. It's not going to hold a bigger mirrorless camera, so pretty much if you're getting anything bigger than the M50, don't get this one. Well, that's the gear that I use for pretty much every video I make. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it and got a little insight to how I make these videos. Go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video. Now for media, I use a Sandisk. Now for media, I use a Sandisk extreme. Now for media, I use a Sandisk. Now for media, I use a Sandisk.